innovations in pre-service second language teacher education for elementary level in West Bengal. In today's session, I would start with an idea about the context of change in West Bengal, which will be followed by a brief outline of the type of innovations that we have suggested in the revised curriculum, and then with reference to data from the teacher education institutes, I would try to explore how far the teacher education system or the institutes in our state ready to implement the innovations that have been suggested in the new curriculum. And finally, I would try to give some suggestions that I hope would be helping the authorities for successful implementation of the innovations in reality. So before I start talking about the innovations really, let us have a look at the context of change in West Bengal. The elementary teacher education in West Bengal before 2013 was under the umbrella of the School Education Department in West Bengal, and there were 3 agencies associated with teacher education for the elementary level. They are the Directorate of School Education, which looks after the administrative aspect of teacher education for the elementary level, and there is West Bengal Board of Primary Education looking after the academic aspect of the teacher education for elementary level. SCERT was there and it is still there, but before 2013 January, they were assigned with specific tasks related with curriculum development and action research in those teacher education institutes. And they were not really into the daily going-ons of the teacher education institutes, before the change came in. And since 29th of January 2013, there is a change in the context. Now the SCERT has been delegated the control, both academic and administrative control of the District Institute of Educational Training, the main government agency looking after the teacher education for elementary level in our state. The PTTIs, however, remain under the dual control of Directorate of School Education, looking after the administration part, and under the West Bengal Board of Primary Education for their academic aspects. West Bengal Board of Primary Education, which is an autonomous body, they continue to conduct the evaluation of the DLED courses that are being practiced and that is going to be introduced from the next session. SCERT in the month of January 2013 was directed by the School Education Department to revise the curriculum of existing DLED courses in the light of NCFTE 2009, and accordingly, workshops were organized by SCERT from 25th to 8th of February and March 6th, and then again another stage of consultation from 13th to 18th of March for aligning and calibrating the DLED curriculum for the state of West Bengal in the light of NCFTE 2009. And it was on 20th of March, the final draft of the revised curriculum was submitted to the School Education Department. I would like to give you just a brief outline of what the revised DLED program have. It's a curriculum, or it's a program which is of 2 years duration, and there are 30 courses in total spread over 4 semesters. 24 of these courses are theory-based and 6 are practicum-based. And there are 7 curricular areas that are there in the theoretical papers. However, in today's session, I will be focusing on the component of second language teacher education that we have in the revised DLED curriculum. In second language teacher education, we have here 3 courses under the curriculum and pedagogic studies. We have proficiency in English, in semester 1, Pedagogy of English Language 1 in semester 3, and Pedagogy of English Language 2 in semester 4. They are all theory-based, and 3 credits have been assigned for each courses, and the marks allotment at the time of evaluation is 50 for each paper, and there would be 2 courses on teaching practice. Now, while introducing the changes or innovations in the curriculum, what we had in mind, we were guided by the guideline of the NCFTE 2009 for using reflection as a tool. But at the same time, we kept in mind the latest textbooks and the curriculum that has been introduced in West Bengal from since the year 2013. In fact, the latest West Bengali textbooks of ESL encourage constructivist classrooms where teachers ask open-ended questions. Students are encouraged to have higher order thinking, and where students develop problem-solving attitude through dynamic process of discovery, inquiry, investigation, discussion, and reflection. And it is not only these, to go with this, in keeping with these aspects of constructivism, teachers need to implement continuous comprehensive evaluation in classroom, which is again a new phenomena for our curriculum at the elementary level. So how do the teacher education curriculum prepare the teachers for this kind of textbook to be implemented in the classroom? So, it says, Tony Wright says, as he says, the appropriate teacher education curriculum should provide provisions of a variety of learning experiences in institutionally based sessions as well as in real school and classroom, with an emphasis on awareness raising, collaborative learning, reflection, and learning from that experience of reflection. And how do we, who revise the curriculum, try to introduce this constructivist approach in the teacher education system? Let us have a look at that. So far as the mode of transaction is concerned, we have proposed participatory and interactive learning through classroom discussion for developing conceptual understanding based on closed reading of text material and research paper. Then there would be a group and individual presentation in the classroom, debates and discussions, interaction, group learning, peer learning, and workshop and seminar. These are the transactional modes that have been suggested in the revised curriculum. And it is not only the transactional modes, certain practical activities has been suggested to do which the student teachers would need to work upon first-hand data collected from real classroom situation. And such practical exercises are case study through interviewing children and guardians, assignments based on intensive reading and relating that with real classroom, writing report on fear observation and school visit, writing journal, project work, role play, and internship. The motive or the objective was to the activities and transactional modes are introduced to encourage student teachers to reflect on practical experience and also to learn from that experience. Now, I have been talking about the mode of transaction proposed in the revised curriculum, but the scheme of evaluation is integrally related with class teaching. Unless the scheme of evaluation changes, no change can really take place in classroom. So let us look upon what Tony Wright says about it. He says, in order to enable the student teachers to implement CCE in classroom, they themselves should experience such methods and find them to be helpful in their own learning. We know that often teachers have a mindset. So unless they themselves go through the experience and realize that they have learned, it is very difficult to prepare them mentally to be able to implement CCE in the classroom. So far as the evaluation scheme goes, right now the existing scheme of evaluation consists of course and written evaluation and internal assessment. And the internal assessment is based on micro and macro teaching, with occasional cases of assessing student teachers based on their performance in certain cultural activities in the teacher education institutes. However, there is variety in marks allotment of internal assessment in different courses. Student teachers depend on rote learning to answer questions in written evaluation. That is the existing scenario. And the change proposed is this: there should be continuous evaluation as well as course and written test. And continuous evaluation would consist of course-based assignments, both theory and practical courses, development of portfolio, project work in group or individual, and school-based practical activities. Any of this mode can be used in one particular semester that would be suitable for the type of courses that are being taught in that particular semester. And the marks allotment would be like this. For theoretical courses, it will be 30% for internal and 70% for external evaluation. So for a 50 marks course, it will be 15 for internal and 35 for external. So thus initiative is taken to use reflective practices in transaction as well as in evaluation. But effective evaluation, could it be possible? It can be possible if the teacher educators have a sound grasp of its basic principles and they have a mastery of the discourse norms and features of the community. Unless they are very sure about what they are doing and why and how to use that tools, it is very difficult to expect them to use the tools appropriately in classroom and bring about a real change in the real classroom with the students. Now the question is, how prepared are our institutes to implement these innovations appropriately? Now let us have a look at the findings that are based on the data that I have collected from Teacher Education Institutes and SCERT. There are 16 diets, 22 government PTTIs, 22 government-sponsored and aided PTTIs, and 115 private PTTIs, that is Primary Teacher Training Institutes, and the diets. They are taking care of teacher education at the elementary level in West Bengal. And SCERT looks after the academic and administrative aspect of the diets. But what about the PTTI? They are still under the dual control of Directorate of School Education and West Bengal Board of Primary Education. It has been found that the teacher education institutes catering to the teachers, teaching for the upper elementary as well as the secondary level, they are under the higher education department. And Directorate of School Education has got no connection with these institutes catering to the B.Ed students. And then another fact is, West Bengal Board of Primary Education is empowered only for lower elementary level in school, and they are conducting the evaluation of the DL-Ed courses. Naturally, we find a lack of coordination and lack of accountability in the elementary teacher education system in our state. Coming to faculty strength, to teach 4 or 5 classes per week in each institute, we have only 4 permanent faculties of English in 16 diets. Most of the, when I say most, it's almost 95 to 7%. Most of the PTTIs have no permanent faculty in English Teachers are locally arranged either from English teachers of government or government-aided schools or from retired faculties of teacher education institutes. And my interviewees said that it is very difficult for them to identify retired teachers or inset teachers who have got NCT approved qualification. And it is especially true of the remote areas. And the qualification of the permanent ESL faculties that are there, all of them have Masters in English Literature and a Bachelor of Education degree. One of my participants have MA in Education. None of the English faculties have specialization in ELT or in linguistics. Then, how equipped are these faculties to enable student teachers to reflect and construct concepts such as factors affecting second language acquisition, 4 skills and their relation with language acquisition and learning, using portfolio for subjective assessment, planning and developing material, critical analysis of existing material, and designing supplementary innovative tasks. All these I have taken from the revised curriculum. The components are there in the revised curriculum, and the question that remains there, are the faculties equipped to help teachers, student teachers, construct and reconstruct concept on topics like this? Let us have a look at the classroom reality. What is happening there? Mode of classroom transaction found is basically lecture method with occasional use of PowerPoint presentation. At times, student teachers may reflect after activities, as I found with one of the science faculties, but there is no scope for structured reflective activities as the new curriculum proposes. Only one faculty informed about using journal writing and peer observation. But peer observation is done informally without proper guideline about the objectives, and hence no real learning through reflection takes place. Internal assessment is done without proper evaluation criteria. My participants expressed their opinion, the principals, they said, the existing faculties are not well versed in application of reflective practice. And they think it is immediately required that there should be properly equipped, qualified and experienced teacher educators is a must to enable student teachers to implement constructivist approach in L2 teaching. And what the principals think is corroborated by the views expressed by Joint Review Mission in their report on the state of teacher education in West Bengal in 2013. They said, teachers also expressed, they interacted with the student teachers, and this is what they got from the student teachers. Teachers also expressed how the teacher training followed the dominant paradigm and did not reflect or relate to the real situation and context. And they themselves went into the classroom where teacher educators were taking classes, and they say teaching practice was happening in didactic mode based upon the curriculum that professed behaviorist pedagogy. Is this reality conducive for the type of innovations that have been suggested in the revised curriculum? Let us see what Korthajan says. If the children to be taught by student teachers need to develop a problem-solving attitude for their whole life, they need to develop reflection skills. The student teachers is learning to reflect on their own experiences is an important preparation for them to be able to guide their students to be independent learners and to be able to learn continuously. Now, as I asked SCERT what steps are they thinking for successful implementation of the innovations, this is the response that I received from them. The SCERT is actively engaging the teacher educators of INSET to this purpose. A pool of teachers will be shortlisted by using the British Council developed platform for selection of trainers they will be giving support to the institutes as of now. And the second measure, the government in school education is also actively pursuing for regular appointment with West Bengal Public Service Commission. This is particularly in sync with the recommendations of the JRM constituted for teacher education. So this is the response that I got from the controlling authority. And then it's from my long experience, I can say, that it is very difficult to identify enough number of properly qualified inset teacher educators who would be able to do justice to the innovations that have been suggested. Because I have been working as an inset teacher educator for a long time, and before my experience in UK, I know how the inset teacher education usually goes. So I have real doubt about the efficacy. Maybe for the time being that can be done. And secondly, mere short-term training by British Council will not be empowering enough to enable inset teacher educators to help student teachers construct and reconstruct concepts on pedagogy of English. So I would like to suggest some measures that might help SCERT in implementing the innovations successfully, at least as of now. Like appointing permanent faculties of English with NCTE approved qualification should be immediately initiated, because I know it might be difficult in our state to find people with background in ELT, because we have just one university having masters in ELT. But still, if we start searching for the right person, we might come upon the right one in time. So the search has to start immediately. Secondly, faculties coming with masters in literature should be allowed to obtain courses, certificates like Delta or DELT or PGDTE from appropriate institutes. I have not mentioned masters in TESOL or masters in ELT or doing a masters in linguistics from university like EFL-U, because that goes beyond any doubt that that will be helping. But for the time being, if we don't have properly qualified person, at least people with this kind of certificates could be of some help. At the time of appointment, preference should be given to candidates with these qualifications. The existing faculties as well as newly appointees must be properly oriented in using reflection in action and reflection on action as tools to learn from any experience. It is an area which needs much exploration, and as this is an ongoing study, I would like to explore further in this area. There should be a coordination between elementary teacher education institutes and those catering to upper elementary and secondary level teacher education. I think it is very important to have this coordination. Unless it is established, it is very difficult to have a continuity in the teacher education system. And last but not the least, in the present era of ICT, SCERT or the concerned authorities must start thinking about how they can cope with the situation by making use of distance learning, online courses, etc., so that a few teacher educators may reach quite a large number of teachers in the state. So that's all for now. I would welcome any queries from you. As I said, it's an ongoing study, so I would like to study further with these areas. And if you have any question, I would try to answer you. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a question over there.
Actually, I'm coming from a teacher education institute in Jharkhand. And actually, I find that the syllabus or the curriculum is ideal. Okay, but as you said, will it be implemented? But my question is, in the syllabus itself, how much time is taken for practice teaching?
As I said, there are 2 courses on practice teaching.
I mean, teaching in the classroom, I'm talking.
Yeah, we have we're teaching in the classroom as well as internship for a period of like 1 month, 15 days internship. And then we have they are distributed in different semester. In one semester, the student teachers would have practicum. They would go to the schools, observe classes, and do sort of internship. And then in another semester, probably the next semester, they would be going into the classroom and teaching, taking the practical teaching.
So how many lessons do they have to teach?
As I said, we have just framed the outline of the revised curriculum, and the details are yet to be worked out because we are it's on this process of approval, and we are, on a process of talk with the JRM and their review comments and how far would be feasible in our classroom. So that is yet to be established.
Kuheli, I had two little questions for you.
Yes.
One was all these things that you showed in the curriculum. I mean, what's the language of transaction? Because from what I know in Orissa,
Yes.
it's near impossible to think of having these in English. So would they be using Bengali as a medium of instruction or English?
Okay, maybe I'm not the right person to give you all the answer, but I can tell you what is happening in the existing curriculum of DL Ed. It is in English. That is the medium of instruction for second language teacher education.
Yeah, but how do the students cope? I mean, the teachers who are training to be...
I have
Are they
been
all right
in a
with-
few classroom of pre-service because, as I told you, the existing DL-Ed situation, and it's people like me from INSET teacher education that we need to take classes in the institutes. I have found they are able to cope, but at times I need to give, summarize
Okay.
my main points in the classroom. But they can manage in writing the answer, or if I'm giving them any task where they need to go through a cycle and reflect on that, they can manage.
Okay. And the other thing is there's an organization called Institute of English in Kolkata.
Yes, it is
Have
there.
you involved them in, I mean, has the West Bengal board involved them in any way? Because they have these teacher training programs.
Let me tell you something. So far as I know, right now SCERT is the nodal authority of teacher education in West Bengal. So it is not the board involving people, it is SCERT involving different agencies. And as far as my experience goes, I haven't seen them getting involved in this. I don't know, exactly whether they have been invited or not, but they were not there. I think. Thank you for, reminding me of this. Maybe I can suggest later on to the right authorities.
Perhaps
Thank you.
a final question then, if there are any.
Any more questions?
Thank you. Thanks. I just wondered if you sometimes feel that we're in this situation again. The politicians latch onto the latest set of new ideas, which they've taken from some other country. They bring it to our country. Then we discover we don't have the teacher trainers or the teachers to deliver it. And then the teachers and the teacher trainers are criticized. And nobody is saying, why don't we start with what we already do? Instead of taking, okay, so now it's constructivist socio-cultural learning that suddenly we have to learn and apply to our country, or make our students fit their ideas. And still we're not beginning with how we are and what we do, and beginning from that. And sometimes that just makes me feel sad.
To respond to that, I would say that the focus is on stopping the practice of rote learning. That is one of the main points that we are trying to focus on. Whether it is coming from outside or inside doesn't matter, but this is having a negative impact on the later stages, on the students. And as far as constructivism or whatever new idea that is coming, I would say practicing teachers are at liberty. It is not very prescriptive. We are asked to go through, I mean, ask open-ended questions, but there is no such prescription what would be considered as open-ended for a particular level or so. So I think teachers have got enough liberty. They can localize any idea and make it appropriate for their own context.
Okay, very interesting questions. I'd like to thank Kuheli Mukherjee for a very clear and interesting presentation of some of the problems that face issues of innovation in teacher education. And also I think what was really interesting were some very clear calls for action, some practical things that can be done to try and resolve some of those issues. So could we have a big round of applause for Kuheli? Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Thank you.